Hi guys, and welcome to today's Dear session. We are reading The Highland Falcon Thief, written by M.G. Leonard and Sam Sedgman, illustrated by Eliza Paganelli. Published by Pan Macmillan UK, who have very kindly given us the permission to read this book, and for me to share it with you during this time indoors. Chapter 2. The Highland Falcon. The first thing Hal saw was a glittering glass house on wheels. The bottom half of the carriage was varnished wood, the top half sparkling rectangles of glass held in place by gold rods that arched up and over the train. Inside he could see lush, green tropical plants. "What kind of train has a greenhouse?" "That's an observation car," Uncle Nat said with a grin. "As we chuff down the tracks, we'll be able to admire the late summer colours of the British countryside, or gaze out at the North Sea. You might glimpse the Kraken." "The Kraken isn't real." Hal didn't believe in sea monsters. He was nearly 12 after all. Uncle Nat looked surprised. "Really? Oh. Well, then when it gets dark you can lie on one of the sofas, look up at the stars." A cry went up. Hal turned to see a woman sashaying along the red carpet in a forget-me-not blue dress. She looked over her shoulder at the cameras, pouting red lips, and throwing her head back, laughing at nothing. "Sierra Knight! What's she doing here?" Hal gasped, but Uncle Nat was striding away from the red carpet. Hal ran to catch up with him. "She's a famous film star." "Sierra Knight is one of the guests. She's part of the Grand Tour." "Sierra Knight is coming on the train with us?" "No way!" Hal's best friend Ben had a mega crush on the actress. He was going to swallow his own tongue with jealousy when he heard about this. "What happens on a grand tour, Uncle Nat? What do we do?" "We live, eat, and sleep in one of the finest trains ever created, and we stay out of trouble. We are lucky that we're nobodies. Nobodies have no formal duties. The royal couple have to do all the hard work." "Royal couple? Didn't your mum tell you that you were coming with me on the royal steam train?" "I wasn't listening," Hal admitted. "I wanted to stay and help Dad take care of her." Uncle Nat put his hand on Hal's shoulder and leaned down. "Do you know what would help your mum more than anything?" "Me being out of the way." Hal looked at the floor. "No. You having a great holiday with me and coming back with stories to tell her while she recovers. There will be plenty of opportunities to look after her when we're back. What will make your mum happy is knowing that you're happy, isn't it?" Hal nodded begrudgingly. "So chin up. Time to start enjoying yourself. Look at that veranda." His uncle pointed the tip of his umbrella at a platform extending from the observation car. "Exquisite ironwork. See the floral motif around the royal crest? Fantastic." Hal looked at the metal and wondered if his uncle wasn't a little bit crazy. Yeah, fantastic ironwork. "Once the royal couple has boarded at Balmoral, the Highland Falcon will slow down to a walking pace as it travels through a station. The prince and princess will stand on that veranda, waving at well-wishers, celebrating their recent wedding." He lifted a finger and a porter scurried over. "Yes, sir?" The porter bobbed his head. "Compartment 9, please." Uncle Nat took Hal's rucksack from his back, putting it down beside his suitcase. "Now, Harrison, before getting under steam, I always pay a visit to the loco." That's short for locomotive. He raised the point of his umbrella. "To the engine!" As they marched along the platform, Uncle Nat threw his hand out. "Look! Pullman carriages, the height of luxury." Hal had never seen an adult so in love with a train before, and he found himself smiling as his uncle enthusiastically spouted facts about it. Uncle Nat stopped dead, and Hal bumped into his back. "You see that red? That's claret, the shade of the royal family's livery. You won't see another train this colour." Hal stared at it. The dense red suggested wealth and power. "This carriage," his uncle continued, "is the King Edward Saloon. It was built before the war for King George V. It has a wonderful library, as well as card tables and a dartboard." "Dartboard? Isn't that dangerous on a moving train?" "Of course, much more fun. This is the dining car where we'll eat breakfast, lunch and dinner, and where we board the train." He pointed through those double doors. A tall man in a burgundy suit with gold buttons, gold-trimmed pockets and lapels stepped forward. "Mr. Bradshaw, sir." The man dipped his peaked cap. "It's always a pleasure to have you aboard." "Hello, Gordon. This is my nephew, Harrison Beck. Harrison, this is Gordon Gould, head steward on the Royal Train." "Welcome, Master Beck." Gordon Gould's smile exposed a row of horse's teeth. "Gordon, I want to take Harrison down to the loco. We've time, don't we?" "If you're quick, sir." "We'll be back in 2 winks of a mole's eye." Uncle Nat put a hand on Hal's back and steered him away from the dining car. "Our sleeping compartment will be somewhere in these guest carriages." "What's that one?" Hal pointed ahead to a carriage with gold-rimmed windows. "The royal carriage," said Uncle Nat. "Out of bounds to us commoners. It'll be empty until we get to Balmoral." Hal caught his reflection in one of the gold-rimmed windows. Springy blonde hair, ordinary face, yellow anorak. The curtain of the window twitched. "Ah!" He jumped back, glimpsing fingers, a button nose, and green eyes, and then they were gone. "You all right?" Uncle Nat looked amused. "Yeah," Hal blushed. How did that head steward man know your name?" "This isn't my first trip on the Highland Falcon," Uncle Nat said. "I'm a travel writer, but my specialism is trains. I love these marvellous machines." He tapped a finger to his temple. "I've memorised all the historic routes. If I can't sleep, I recite the stations, and before I've reached the end of the line, I've dropped off." He looked delighted. "Writing about trains? Is that a real job?" Uncle Nat laughed. "I've written about the Highland Falcon before, which is why I've been invited back to do it again." He stared along the length of the train to the plumes of dove-grey smoke dancing above the engine's funnel. "I'm grateful to be given the opportunity to say goodbye to this train. She's very special." He gave himself a little shake. "Come on, we must be quick. These last carriages are the service cars for the crew, and there's the tender." "What's a tender?" "The truck where the coal and water are stored." Hal looked at the skip-sized truck and saw a small door in the wall. He blinked as it opened a fraction, and the top part of her face, dark hair and green eyes, peeped out at him, and then disappeared. It was the same face he had seen in the window of the royal carriage. "Coal? Of course, coal. What do you think a steam train runs on?" "Steam? And how is the steam made, Harrison?" "With coal?" "Precisely, with coal." Uncle Nat waved him forward. "Come on, let's look her in the face." The proud engine was a burnished claret, its roof a brilliant white. The streamlined nose of the loco dipped like a hawk's beak. The skirt of the casing lifted on both sides, snarl-like, revealing 3 giant black wheels. Steam escaped from hidden pipes, hissing threateningly. A low cloud of water vapour surrounded the engine. Hal felt the urge to pull out his pen and draw it, but he had no paper. "You'd have to look for a long time to find an engine more impressive and downright beautiful than this one." Uncle Nat walked towards the nose of the loco and laid his hand on it, patting it as if it were a horse. Copying him, Hal was surprised to find the metal casing was warm and vibrating. The locomotive puffed out a sigh of steam, as if it were alive, a dragon, ancient, powerful, and ready to fly.